Here are the stories that we're tracking for you today. Johnson & Johnson vaccine recipients, you are not forgotten. And in fact, we have good news for you. A small new study finds that giving a booster dose of the J&J shot 6 months after primary vaccination results in a 9-fold increase of a crucial antibody response. Meanwhile, a prior study found that people vaccinated with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine still had a durable immune response at least 8 months later, even without a booster. Collectively, the findings could help inform the U.S. government's recommendations about boosters for the 14 million people who received the single-shot vaccine as the Delta variant surge continues. Let's check in on Capitol Hill, where the House of Representatives has been up to quite a lot. President Biden's sweeping economic agenda is moving forward after House Democrats approved a $3.5 trillion budget resolution, but it wasn't easy. 10 moderate Democrats clashed with leadership, wanting an immediate vote on the Senate-passed $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill prior to voting on the budget framework. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi struck a deal with the group to hold a vote on the infrastructure bill by September 27th.
Well, in the end of the day, what was most important is that we worked it out, and it was a huge win for the country and our vote.
Lawmakers in the House also passed the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act along party lines. The legislation would work to restore parts of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 that were removed. The Afghanistan women's national soccer team scored an important victory this week when they were successfully evacuated out of Kabul. 75 Afghan female soccer players, officials, and relatives under threat from the Taliban have found refuge in Australia, the first country to offer a haven in response to pleas from a multinational network of athlete advocates and human rights lawyers. Evacuations are continuing around the clock, but the efforts are becoming more challenging by the day, and many more imperiled athletes are still stuck in Afghanistan. After outcry and backlash from sex workers and allies, OnlyFans says it was only kidding. The platform has dropped plans to ban sexually explicit content from its service, less than a week after the company had announced the change. OnlyFans founder and CEO Tim Stokely put the blame for the ban on banks, saying banking companies had refused service because of the reputational risk associated with the sexual content. On Wednesday, the company said it, quote, secured assurances necessary to support our diverse creator community. Spencer Eldon, the man who was photographed as a baby on the album cover for Nirvana's Nevermind, has always embraced the photo and its cultural significance, recreating it as an adult for several of the album's anniversaries. For the album's 30th anniversary, he's commemorating it in a different way, with a lawsuit. Eldon is suing the band, alleging sexual exploitation. Eldon, now 30, says his parents never signed a release authorizing the use of his image on the album. He also alleges the nude image constitutes child pornography. He's asking for $150,000 in damages against each of the defendants, which include members of the band, Kurt Cobain's estate, photographer Kirk Weddle, Universal Music, Geffen Records, Warner Records, and MCA Music.